I'm here with the legendary Ice-T, a man that has not only helped transform rap, but also brought a flavor to it, from the West Coast to the East Coast, from the East Coast to the West Coast. Someone who's brought knowledge, someone who's brought acting, someone who's brought entrepreneurship, someone who continues to reinvent themselves each and every way. So I first want to thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And it's an honor to even sit and have the opportunity to chop it up with each other.
Yeah.
The first thing I must ask is, how's the wife?
I told life's perfect. I'm a very fortunate 9-year-old daughter. Coco is great, changed my life, saved my life. And, I think when you have a family that makes you want to stay inside, you're much safer.
You know what? I couldn't agree with you more. I've been married 41 years. And if it wasn't for that woman, no telling where I'd be.
Exactly.
So please give my love to the family and to your daughter.
Thank you.
So let me ask a question. When you first started in rap, what made you decide to start doing something that was totally uncommon to the music industry?
Well, first off, I never really, I was just rapping because it was fun. When I started rapping, nobody had ever bought a car rapping. So it wasn't something that you were going to do as a career. It was just something you would do on weekends. And I got hip to hip hop when I was in the military. When I got out of high school, I got my girlfriend pregnant. And I decided, I was dabbling in the streets, but I decided I would try to do something responsible. I went in the military. When I was in the military, you're connected to people from all over the country, and the New York cats had tapes of hip hop, first generation of hip hop, which is I'll say unrecorded hip hop, meaning not records yet, tapes, and it was fascinating to me. The rapping. I seen breakers on a show called That's Incredible, and hip hop is a very intoxicating culture that's why it's so big. It's because you can get in at 4 entry points. You could be a graffiti artist, you could be a DJ, you could be a rapper or MC or a dancer.
Okay.
I was already dancing in high school. I had a locking group. I thought I was cool. And I had been making rhymes for the gangs in Los Angeles before I even knew what hip hop was. So I came out of the Army with the intention of being a DJ. To throw parties. They had parties, promotional crews called Uncle Jam's Army in L.A., and other ones that were able to do the L.A. Sports Arena just with a dance, because there was a big market for kids between, say, 16 and 21 that couldn't get into clubs, but there was a lot of them. So they would throw jams for them, and that was my plan.
Okay.
But then when I got out, I got more attention rapping. I would try my raps at the parties, and I was getting more attention doing that versus carrying all the speakers around. So I'm like, you know what? I can go from party to party and rap. Before you knew it, I started getting my name on flyers. Strictly for fun, though.
But let me ask you, when you say you started doing this strictly for fun and writing rhymes for the gangs, were you associated with a gang at that time?
No, I never jumped into a gang. I was born in Newark, New Jersey. And I came to L.A. when I lost both my parents. I lost my mother when I was in the 3rd grade, my father when I was in the 7th grade.
My condolences always.
Right. Or I was orphaned. I moved to L.A. to live with my father's sister. I went to Palms Junior High School, which was, they bussed in L.A. They were forced integration. So they would take kids from the hood and take them to different schools to move around. So I went to Palms Junior High School, which is a white junior high school in Culver City. Then I went to Crenshaw High School, which is dead center L.A.
L.A. for sure.
And at that point, you're introduced to the gangs. But see, people get in gangs when they're in junior high. So they're coming from Bethune, they're coming from Audubon, they're coming from Horace Mann, and they're already clicked up. I immediately figured out that joining a gang put me as an enemy with the rest of the city. Like if you become a Harlem Crip rolling 30s, then you got enemies with the 60s, you got enemies with the A-Track.
Right.
So I decided, since I got a little bit of charisma and the gift of gab, I just became friends with all the shot callers from the different sets.
Okay.
And by the time I made it to 12th grade, I took on the persona of a player. I started hanging out with the cats that were wearing tailors and Fila outfits, and I had on my perm and everything. So we were hustlers, which is a different dimension than the gangbangers. The gangbangers didn't really trip with the hustlers. Once they understood that you were a player, they was like, okay, cool. Because gang members are looking for the enemy. So anyway, I kind of created a diplomatic immunity in Los Angeles by being a well-known player. But to keep the gangs off my bumper, I would entertain them with rhymes. I would write like, would you like to hear a gang rhyme?
Absolutely.
Okay, it's a gang rhyme I wrote for one of the gang. I said, go and. All right, strolling through the city in the middle of the night, niggas on my left and niggas on my right, yelling, "Rip!" to every nigga I see. If you bad enough, come fuck with me. I seen another nigga, I said, "Crip" again. He say, "Fuck a Crip, nigga, this is Brim." So we pulled out the Roscoe. Roscoe said, "Crack." I look again, nigga was shooting back. So we fell to the ground, aimed for his head. One more shot. The bitch nigga was dead. Walked over to him, took his gun, spit in his face, and began to run. So if you see another nigga laying dead in the street in a puddle of blood from his head to his feet, hope it's time you bitch niggas get hip. This fuck a Brim, nigga, this West Side Crip.
Wow.
Very negative, but it's gang shit. So the gangbangers, so therefore you write it, now they like, I see, put my name in one of them. Put my name, so now I'm saying these rhymes.
You was a player though with the perm and everything
But
else.
I could say this for them and I could put their names in it. So like I said, this would keep these.
You ain't have no rollers in your hair, right?
I used to go to homeroom with rollers in my hair.
Okay, go ahead.
So my hair was more wavy than the ships in the Navy. You understand me? So, but the gangbangers like that. So, like I said, anybody that's grown up around hardcore motherfuckers, if you can keep them laughing, you can keep them off your bumper.
Okay.
If they like you, they don't fuck with you. So you don't have to be as tough as them. No, that's my nigga right there. I got him.
Right.
So blah. So that I would like I always tell people, I survived LA. I navigated LA. Nobody's tougher than anybody in any ghetto, because all it takes is 6 ounces of pressure from a 12-year-old and you down. Absolutely. So it doesn't matter how tough you think you are. So I figured that out early, being an orphan, not having brothers and sisters.
So you move what you're moving in your 12th grade. Now you're getting older. You're military conscious and everything else, and you're doing all of these different things. What changed your perspective on what you should be doing when you came home?
Nothing. When I came out of the Army, I jumped right off the porch with my cats that I left. Now, when I left L.A., when I went in the Army, they were doing shit like stealing car stereos and shit. When I came back, they was robbing jewelry stores and they was putting down moves. They was hitting credit unions, bank drops, and
they was getting some paper.
Yeah, and I was coming home with this military experience. So I think one of the reasons I never got caught was because I always made the getaway more important than the actual crime. Like, even if we don't put the lick down, we have to get away. We have to get away. So I taught these cats how to get away. Okay. And, I never killed nobody. So there's a statute of limitations on my crime. But a lot of the cats that I was involved with are now still serving life sentences, because you got to raise the risk to raise the profit. And eventually you take your criminality to a place that somebody ends up getting hurt.
Right, I understand that. But let me ask now. So now your whole perspective has changed. A lot of the things that you were doing then, you're no longer doing now because you're home. You jump off the porch, you decide, listen, I'm going to do it this way from now on. What was the time frame from going from just jumping off the porch to writing your first hit and then being able to get into the game?
Okay, so what's going on with me at this time is we getting money. And I was at a beauty parlor getting my hair done, like we talking about, getting my magnetic rollers put in. And I was saying rhymes to these girls. I'm the pimp, the player, the woman layer, the hoolie doula, the whole house ruler. I just pimp whores and slam Cadillac doors. So I'm saying all this fly shit. So this dude walks in, he goes, "You want to make a record?" His name was Willie Strong, and another guy named Cletus Anderson, who ran a very famous record store called VIP Records in L.A.
Okay.
The one you saw Snoop Dogg standing on top of in his video.
Okay.
And I'm like, who are you? They say, you know, we can make a record. You want to make a record? And that night, they took me to a studio. It's like almost like Run DMC's song, you know, the chauffeur drove off and he never came back. He took me to a studio, and they had a track which Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis had produced. And there was some girls singing on it, and they pulled the girls to say, can you rap over this? I literally went in the booth and said all my walking around rhymes I had in my head and made it into a record. Just
like that, off the cuff.
Yeah. Ladies say that I'm heaven sent because I got more money than the U.S. mint. I ride ragtop rolls, rocks on my hands, Maseratis and Mercedes-Benz, ocean liners, private jets, Bel Air bookies place my bets. I own islands off the coast of France, and I wear designer shirts and pants. When I was brought into this world, my mama never asked if I was a boy or a girl because I rolled over to her, gave her a kiss, and she said, yo, daddy don't rock me like this. So this is my shit. Now, all that's a lie. I'm a broke nigga in the hood. I'm talking about islands. But that was part of hip hop.
Right.
You know,
right.
you manifesting all these fly shit, and it was entertaining. At the end of the day, rap should be entertaining with or without a beat.
Absolutely.
So I say these rhymes, and they make a record called The Coldest Rap. The Coldest Rap. I got paid like $300 from them, and you know, it was just my first rap record. It's out there somewhere. The record is called The Cold Wind Madness. It's out, produced by Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. How about that?
Okay.
That got me to go to a club. These guys called me from a club called The Radio, later made famous in the movies Breaking. They called it the Radiotron, but it was a club called The Radio, which was in downtown L.A., MacArthur Park. Some white cats, a guy named KK and a white man named Alex Jordanoff owned this club, which was a hip hop club downtown LA. Madonna was there, Malcolm McLaren was there. It was a very cutting edge club with like white, like hip kids listening to hip hop.
Right. But didn't want to come into the hood, so there
was no hip hop in the hood.
Okay.
See, you know, like hip hop even in New York started at the clubs downtown. Like it started in the Bronx, but it ended up downtown. So white kids have always been fascinated with black culture.
Okay.
So we're here. Hip hop is not in the hood yet. I mean, LA had more of a techno sound going on, you know, Egyptian Lover and stuff like that. But this was hip hop. This guy, they brought Bambaataa out there. Wow. The Soul Sonic Force came out. Cold Crush Brothers had come out. The Rocksteady crew had came out. They were bringing out real New York hip hop to this particular club.
Okay.
They heard my record and they asked me to come. I started to go to that club, and I kind of became like the main guy on the stage every night, and that's why I started to practice. But once again, it's strictly for fun. I wasn't getting paid. I was pulling up in the front in my Porsche with my jewelry that comes from the streets.
Right.
So I looked like a rapper, but I wasn't making no money rapping. So it was like my weekend thing. So I called my boys and said, man, you got to come to this club I'm playing at. I'm like, they like, where? It's over there. I'm like, yeah, man, it's crazy white bitches up in there that love niggas. Right. So they like, we there. So now I got all my boys up in there, and these are all hustlers. So they got all these diamonds and jewelry on, and we had a whole situation going there. One night, Madonna came in, and I had to check you if you were gonna rap that night. And they said, this is white girl downstairs, she wants to rap, sing. And I'm like, who is she? Madonna, I never heard of her. She had a song, Physical Attraction, and she got on the stage, and it was funny. I had a girlfriend at the time, and Madonna kind of put me in the act. Next thing you know, she touching me and shit. My girl was heated. I had a black girlfriend. She was heated. Like, who is this white bitch? But there's a picture of that out there of me on the stage with Madonna. But that was it. So to answer your question, the first hit, they came into this club and they said, we're going to make a movie. We're going to use these dancers, we use this DJ, we use that guy, the rapper, and we'll make a movie called Breaking.
Okay.
in the movie Breaking, I was called featured rap talker. They didn't even have the word rapper yet. They didn't know. This is the first.
Wow.
I'm the first image of a rapper on film other than Wild Style. After Wild Style,
okay.
I'm the first mainstream image anyone ever saw of a guy rapping.
Okay.
And
you were fresh out the box. You were brand new to them.
The whole culture was.
Right.
And they said to me, they came at Glove, the DJ, said, you want to make a record for the soundtrack? And he made this record and he asked me to rap, and we did Reckless.
Okay.
The song Reckless. And that song went platinum, and Eminem even said that's the first rap record he ever heard. And when that happened, to me, I was like, maybe you could really do this shit. Because the first record, I only made $200.
Okay.
So I was still in the streets. I'm like, this ain't getting no money. Now I'm surrounded by niggas. It's like, why are you wasting your time rapping? Like, nigga, you better get this money. Like,
okay.
Hustlers is like, rap.
You tried to change your narrative.
Back then, rap was goofy to them. They like, rapping.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck is that? Hip hop shit. Like, nigga, we hustlers. Like, we getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so I would moonlight and go into this club and doing my little thing on the side. So now I get a platinum record. So in my brain, I'm like, my shit might be decent. The second thing that happened for me, there was a club called Carolina West, and it was a well-known LA club that was open from 9 a.m. to 9 at night to 9 in the morning. It was one of the hottest clubs in LA. They had a rap contest there, and Curtis Blow was the judge.
Okay.
And I won.
Wow.
So me, Curtis Blow thinks I could rap. Curtis Blow is a real rapper.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So these are little moments in my life that affirm the fact that maybe I had it. Maybe I could do it.
Well, you was blessed, man. I mean, God blessed you to be able to have that voice, to be able to have those lyrics, to be able to just come off your sleeve with it and go from there. And I know that there was one rap song, I forget the name of it off the top of my head, that caused a lot of controversy in New York City with the police department. They were furious.
Well, no, later on down the road, we did Cop Killer and but
and I don't mean to cut you off, but all the cops now were the same ones listening to your music.
But see, Cop Killer was a whole nother thing. That was Body Count. That was my metal band.
Mm-hmm.
That was not even a rap record, even though they called it a rap record. But just to track the final movement, eventually I started trying to make records. And as I started to make records, I made a record called You Don't Quit. I started with a guy named Unknown.
Right.
And my boys was like, say that shit you be saying.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning the gangster shit.
Right.
I'm trying to rap about parties and shit. They like,
keep it real.
So I make a record called 6 in the Morning. And 6 in the Morning, well, what happened, I heard PSK. I was at a club and I heard Schoolie D's PSK. PSK, we making that green. So I listened to it and that shit was so dope to me. Mm-hmm. Then I did research on it and they said PSK stands for Parkside Killers.
Okay.
Schoolie D's rapping about a gang. And that was like a green light, like, oh, you could do that?
Yeah, this is open now.
Bam, so I come back with the same cadence. PSK, we making that green. I go, 6 in the morning, police at my door. Fresh Adidas squeaked across the bathroom floor. Later, Ice Cube wrote for Easy, the boys in the hood are always hard. So all these records are kind of mimicking Schoolie D's cadence.
Okay.
They say 6 in the Morning was the first gangster rap record. I say Schoolie D's was, but we'll share that crown because Schoolie said you took it a little bit further than mine.
Well, you did a Muhammad Ali thing. You the champ. Go ahead, champ.
So that was the introduction of, I will say, apolitical rapping from the perspective of the active street cat, like rapping from that mentality. And it became easy to me because but all the time I had my bigger OGs saying, nigga, don't send nobody to jail.
Mm-hmm.
So what I tried to do with my music was tell you about the flash of the game, but also match it with the violence and the tragedy of where it's going to take you.
And that's where we're at today with some of the music that's played, is because it's no longer part of a show. It's a lot of it is reality to a lot of these young brothers and sisters out here. What could you speak to them about? Because you made the transitions and you made them smoothly. How can they make the transition from where they are today to where they need to be?
The thing of it is that when you're in it, then you don't know what the other side of the game is. You only know it. And to survive in it, you have to totally be in it. Like, you can't be bow-legged. Like, you can't be in the game and out of the game at the same time. You're going to get caught. You're going to die. If you're in it, you're all the way in it. And a lot of these kids are all the way in it, and they're trying to make music. Well, their brain doesn't see the outside. They only see what exactly is going on in their life. Mm-hmm. You could look at it as they're telling you what's going on in their brain. Now, will they be able to make the transition? They're going to have to.
Right.
Because you can't keep that energy and get money. You think you can, but you can't. You have to transition because that shit is good for where it is. Like
for that moment, right.
Yeah, when you're in the streets, I don't give a fuck if you're a drug dealer, I don't care. When you're in the streets, you feeling like this is all I want. But guess what? When you buy your house, you want a nice house, you're going to move next to a legit person. That legit person ain't with your bullshit. They want to know who you are. They want to know if you pay your taxes. There isn't a special planet that gangsters go to live.
Right. They live right next door to each other.
They live next door to the mayor or anybody. They live right next.
Right.
So if you want to stay in the hood and be grimy with that, then you're going to get cannibalized. You can't stay there because now you become the money in the neighborhood. Like they say, you start walking around looking like a piggy bank.
Yes.
And so you try to move. But over here, this requires taxes, this requires paperwork, this requires a lot of shit. So the illusion that you're not going to transition and you're going to keep it gangster forever, you've lost your motherfucking mind, because at some point you're going to have to take on at least the image of legitimacy.
Right. With your family as well, because if you try to have a family and try to orchestrate this whole thing, it's not going to work.
It's not going to work. And you know what? It as a kid growing up with not many opportunities, it might seem like a way to go, but when I go to schools and I talk to schools, I say, okay, kids, let me talk to you guys real quick. I say, man, how many of you kids know somebody that's in the streets getting money? Everybody's hands go up. I say, how many of you know somebody over 21 that's doing it, that's never been in jail, never been shot? Now some of the hands go down. I said, let's raise that to 30. How about 35? There's usually one kid. I say, now you telling me they never been to jail, they never been shot, or somebody close to them, a family member or best friend is dead. Mm-hmm. Okay, look around. Why get into an occupation that just obviously no life past 35? Why would you get into anything? So I'm trying to let them know that life is short-lived, that life is exciting. I understand how intoxicating it is, but it's not where you want to be.
It's not a reality. I mean, at the end of the day, you get two guys. They walk in, they stick up somebody. They fire a shot. They get $100 from the person. The person dies. So they're going to split $100, which is $50 a piece, and then they're going to split that 55, 60 years that they got between them. The math just don't add up. It's not worth it.
It's not worth it, but that's the thing. You find less older people making these mistakes. It happens usually between 18 and 25. I say 15 and 25, when your brain is not even fully developed and you're able to look at how this is going to add up. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, if I sat down with my old crew who was out here, we would be very ignorant and stupid, and we put them in a room, and I told them, I said, let's go do a move. everybody in that room, say it's 5 of us, will want $1 million cash, right? That means you got a $5 million lick.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody could die in the course of getting $5 million in cash. Somebody, one of us or somebody on the other side of this lick, right, could die. Are you willing to run for the rest of your life?
Not worth it.
This is my point. Because now you got to be on the run because there's no statute of limitations to that.
That's right.
So you're going to run for the rest of your life, meaning your family, your kids, nothing. You never have stability again. Is it worth it? No.
Well, no.
So therefore, I don't jaywalk. I don't take toothpicks out of restaurants. I am a guy.
Jaywalking is legal in New York City. So,
I don't trust it. I don't need that smoke. I am a guy, honestly, I'll tell you this. I've been so fortunate. I got away with my little dirt, whatever, and my friends paid for it. A lot of my friends paid for my sins, but I honestly believe if I even lie to somebody, I would never steal from anybody. If I did anything negatively, I believe I would die. I believe I would suffer instant karma.
Okay.
I believe, nigga, you so blessed. Any of that old monkey shit, all that bullshit.
Right.
And I can't even be around people that have that energy. If they bring that energy to me, I'm just like.
Keep it moving.
Yeah.
Keep it moving.
Because been there, done that, got the t-shirt.
Keep it moving.
So my music evolved as I evolved. And a lot of it, you know, people say, well, you brought this into the game. And I'm like, yeah, but I try to always tell it real. Like, I tell you, because it is exciting. That's why people get involved in it. There is a rush. There's a reason people do it. But the pain on the other end, I have a song on my first album. It's fun in the beginning, but it's pain in the end. So that's pretty much IC. I explain myself. I explain myself like this to people. There's a road. And all the hustlers and the players and all of us are running down this road full speed. We in our Benzes and our Cadillacs and our Rollses, and we're headed down this road. We gonna be the richest, foulest ballers in the history of the world. We running. I got to the end of the road.
Right.
And I see it's a cliff. I see it's a cliff and people are going off the cliff. My career is me on that same road, turned back, running up the road past the players saying, don't go that way.
Right.
Don't go that way. Some of them will listen. Some will go, come on, Ice.
But you see, Ice, you've made that transition, and I think that that's what's important.
Transition's hard.
It's very difficult. Some people can't do it. Some people can't reinvent themselves.
The hardest part for my transition is you know, like the way people talk and the way people behave around you, and you know, you get people saying stuff and getting away with it and stuff, and you're so used to like addressing that, like, oh, there's a problem, we go see you, like what's happening.
Right.
Now you just got to let it go. But then I've got other players in my world that have elevated, that help me. It's like, Ice, let that drop. You know, the rotten apple fall off the tree on its own.
That's right.
You
That's
are not
right.
the hand of God.
That's
Mind
right.
your business, you know, and I have to teach that because the streets are very emotional. Everything moves off emotion. I'm been disrespected. I'm emotional about it. And you want to go and act out on these emotions.
And they get you in trouble.
You have to learn how to manage your emotions. That might be quiet. You might have to stay quiet for a couple of days. You might go into a little zone for a minute, but you have to maintain those emotions. Because emotions will put you behind bars for the rest of your life.
I think that, and you're 100% right, and I think that when we talk about transitions, how you've made it in the music industry, you've been in the military, you've made all of these transitions. And just going back to the military for a second, I think, this is just my opinion, that a lot of these young brothers and sisters, 18 years old, they like playing with guns. I know they could go to the military, they could play with all the guns that they want, you know, but they could actually get something out of it. and come home and do exactly what it is that you've done. And you've transitioned once again. You were one of my favorites, New Jack City, baby. New Jack City. You've transitioned. You became such a powerful figure that young people and older people get an opportunity to see you on the screen. And they want to act out like that. They want to be that person. Talk to us about that.
I mean, my thing is this. What keeps me successful or in the game is my humility. Not ever thinking I'm the best at anything and not ever thinking that that's going to last forever. So I'm always trying to do my best. And I believe all a player needs is action.
Okay.
You're going to give me action? You're going to let me be in this movie? Well, now I got to take advantage of that action. I got to act my motherfucking ass off. You feel me? So we as black people or ghetto people, we complain about opportunity. We don't got opportunities, but then when we get them, we don't execute. We don't take advantage of that opportunity the way we should.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I think all my shit comes from being by myself.
Okay, from learning from your experiences growing up
as an orphan.
Yes, losing your parents and more or less depending on yourself. For
Always.
That matter.
That's why I never got high.
Okay.
That's why I don't smoke weed. That's why I don't drink. I would watch my big homies drunk, and I'm like, you the big homie, people scared of you, but nigga could take your life right now. Look at you drunk, you sloppy
you
drunk.
Slipping now.
You letting someone else get you home. It never was attractive for women to me. I'm like, you're putting yourself in danger. Now me, I always felt like if I got high and I hit the ground, whose job is it to get me home? I don't have a brother, father, mother. No one's gonna come looking for me. So I've always just been in that mode of survival. You know, I pawned all my jewelry before. I've been broke before. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy those feelings. I don't borrow money from people. I don't rely on anybody.
You learned, and that's very valuable because a lot of people go through something, but they don't get the lesson out of it. You've gotten the lesson out of each thing that you've went through so that you can do better. You went from, I don't know, what do you got, 40 films that you've been in? And
over 100.
Over 100 films. And then you got Law and Order. You got that too. So, you know, I mean, there's so many things that you've done and that you're doing. Does it ever weigh on you to where you say, I should stay with this a little bit longer than I did or shouldn't have?
Yeah, like I cut back. They say they have a term, jack of all trades, master of none. Like you want to master something, you know? So I used to have so many things, but trying to help too many people.
Right.
And I would just focus, like I say, well, this year I'm going to do this, this, and this. These are my priorities, and everything else, if I get to it, I'm not putting any effort. I have to master these three things. Okay. Usually up for the last 25 years, it's been Law and Order. Then I might have an album I'm doing with Body Count or something, and then maybe one other outside project. Because I also now, you know, Chuck D said, Ice, if you're not having fun at this point, you shouldn't do it.
Right, that's true.
I have to manage my time, and my daughter and my family has to be part of it, or what are you doing it for?
They got to be number one.
Yeah. Well, no, I told my wife, I told my wife, in my life, I have Mariska Hargitay, who I work with, then Coco, then my daughters. I say, but Mariska's number one because I made more money with her. So she's number one right now. Me and her have been taking it to the bank. So, I mean, me, myself, is like, there's a reason, you know, all these things everything we do is a decision that we make. You know, there's so many crossroads in life, and we have to make those right turns and stuff. Right. And when you get to my age, like, I'm just like I say, you never underestimate a man of my age or of our age.
This is true, brother.
That come from an environment where men die young. So there's a lot of decisions you made left or right that kept us here.
Right.
I don't know. I think Ice-T is the kind of person, though, if it's an opportunity and it's something that I want to do, I'm going to do 100%. I'm going to be, if I'm your employee, I'm going to be your best employee, or I'm just not going to be it.
Right.
So I've always pushed. So when I got a chance to do New Jack City, I had never acted. You know, I'm not.
That was your first film?
Yeah, that's my first film.
Okay.
I had never acted. You could do it. You could do it. You could do it.
Did a damn good job, brother.
And people were like, yo, I was scared to play the police. I'm putting out an album called Original Gangster. And, you know, my boys, I call them. I say, yo, think I should be the police? They're like, word? Could I be in the movie? You know, that's what they said. And then my girls are doing my hair. They was like, Ice, if you do not take this opportunity, like once again, you niggas always bitching about not having an opportunity.
Right. Now you got it.
And you ain't gonna take it because you got a problem with the police? You know what I'm saying? Because see, me, myself, I never had a problem with the police.
Mm-hmm.
The police were the opponent, not the enemy. I know I'm gonna break the law. I know there's a law. I'm gonna break it, but I'm not mad at you because you doing your job. I'm gonna just outsmart you. So real criminals don't look at cops as the enemy. They look at them as the opponent.
Right.
That's the opponent. Okay. And if I get caught, we cuff up and we play Law and Order.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't mad at you. Now, the punk gets mad. What? Because you broke the law, nigga. You know you can't rob a bank. You know that's against the law. Yeah. And also, if you're a drug dealer, the law creates the margin. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yes, it does.
It does create the margin. If it's legal, it's not valuable anymore. Right. So I understand that. So now I never had a problem with the police like that. I have a problem with bullies. I have a problem with racists. I have a problem with that. Okay. So whether you're a cop or you're just a person, if you're a bully or you're a racist, I don't fuck with you. So some of the police, that they fall into that category.
Yes, they do.
And that's where my fucking shit went. Mm-hmm. But me, myself, I mean, if people really want to watch Ice-T or get anything from me, I'm not confident in anything enough to relax.
So it's almost like you're an air traffic controller. You land one plane at a time. You ain't trying to bring all the planes down together because something's going to crash. You want to focus on that one thing,
and hopefully land it.
And hopefully land it safely. But
I'm not complacent. I'm not sure it's going to land. And so I got another plane I'm working on. So I don't like to say I work in the realm of mediocrity. I just don't work in the realm of if it's not the greatest. Like some people are so trying to be number one. They're just so bent on that. Like these are the people that want $1 billion. Like what the fuck do you need $1 billion for? Mm-hmm. So I'm not that person.
You're a very humble brother.
Yeah, because I know you don't have to be to survive.
Right.
McDonald's is the shit. Burger King ain't broke.
Right.
Or Taco Bell, you don't have to. Right. So I'm not going to waste my life worrying about being on the top. See, the thing of it is, even like with the rapper lists, I don't even need to be on the list because out there's somebody that thinks I'm the best.
Okay.
I got a fan that says, fuck everybody. That's it's Ice-T.
That's right.
So I'm not really concerned with that.
Absolutely. 1,000%, bro.
So my thing has always just been not... Put it like this. It's not about being the best in the league. It's about being in the league.
Being consistent in the league.
In the league.
That's right.
When I started rapping, I didn't want to be the best rapper. I just wanted to be a rapper. I wanted to be mentioned amongst the rappers.
Okay.
Accomplished. Mm-hmm. I'm acting. I'm mentioned among actors. I'm the longest running actor in a television series in history.
Wow. Okay. Congratulations, bro. Congratulations.
So I accomplished those things. So I'm not, my ego's in check. I'm like, like I say, my biggest act is convincing you I can act.
And when you can do that, then you're acting.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. They ask me, they say, Ice, where you learn how to act? I'm like standing in front of a judge, So, but at the end of the day, I always wanted to be a player. And I am a player. I'm playing this game of life. I'm playing it, but it requires strategy. It requires a gut, and you just got to suck a duck. You got to stay clear because in this world, there's so many people that are just like the parasites of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got a basketball player. I just work with Anthony Edwards.
Okay.
He's surrounded by, he's got his friends, but just 1,000 people that are looking at him saying he's going to be a wealthy man. I need to figure a way to connect to him.
And that's crazy that brother don't see it. I hope he does.
Oh no, he sees it, but I'm just using him as an example. Right. Anyone who's successful, there's 1,000 people that are saying, how can I hook on to this thing and go for the ride?
1,000 leeches all over the place.
But there's one person that's doing it. There's only one person that's actually the celebrity or the star or the person that has the energy, and everything else connects.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's why when some people refer to yourself as myself, or I've had someone say, oh, what's up, OG? There's a difference. You're not an OG. You're a Master G. A Master G is someone who continuously, whether they're there or not, puts money in somebody else's pocket. So people are still benefiting from the work that you've done. People are still benefiting from the work that I've done. So don't consider me an OG or you an OG. We're Master Gs. There's a difference in that. How can you allow yourself to, if you had to explain to a young person watching you right now, they want to get into acting or they want to get into music, they want to do something, but they really don't know what they want to do because they don't have anybody in their life either.
Right.
They don't have mommy, they don't have daddy, and if they do have mommy or daddy, you know, they're not there. How can you just key in on that person and say, listen, this is what you need to do starting and be consistent in doing that? What do they need to be doing?
Okay. Let's start with this. Usually people are either connected to three things. They're athletically inclined, they're intellectually inclined, or they're artistically inclined. The athletic guy is going to be a jock, and they're like freaks. There's some reason they could always run faster, jump higher, and they're made for athletics. They know it ever since they're a kid. The academically inclined are the people that work on, you know, NASA and academics are easy to them. Like they can come up with all kinds of formulas and stuff. When we look in a book, it's like, this is difficult. No, to an academic, it's easy. Then we have the artistically inclined. Unfortunately, art is the hardest one to make money on because art is perception. Art is like, there's people that can act circles around me that can do Shakespeare and all that, but for some reason people like me. There's an intangible thing with art that there's people, I know artists, it's like, my art is so good, but for some reason it's not connecting.
Okay.
So therefore with art, it's hard. It's not as simple. If you go to school to be a dentist, you can't fall off.
Right.
You'll always be a dentist.
Right.
If you become a musician at any moment, the people don't fuck with you no more. Your sound goes left and you're unemployed. You can be in 5 movies and people don't mess with you no more. If you're a lawyer, you're always a lawyer. Right. So some of these other jobs are very much more secure than art.
Okay.
A lot of art doesn't even happen till you die. You know, your value goes up when you die. The term starving artist is for a reason. So anyone who decides, I want to be an artist as a career, Frank Sinatra said, anyone who is making a living wage off of the arts is living a miracle. The odds are so high. Let's be simple, okay? You want to be a rapper. I'm from L.A. Y'all know L.A.'s a big city. You can't name 10 rappers out of L.A. You can't name 10. Let's try. You go Ice Cube, you go Snoop Dogg, you go, let's see, Pac.
Okay.
Right? You go the Dog Pound, let's say Corrupting Daz. Now, Kendrick. Starting to reach, right?
Yeah, you reaching.
That's 10. Now, there's probably more. I mean, there's a lot more. I know.
Right.
But I'm just saying, you know, we had Mac 10 was out for a while. You got, and no disrespect to anybody I'm not naming off the list, but that's out of how many millions of people are in LA and how many millions of those people thought they were going to be rappers.
Yeah.
the odds. What are the odds? You know, so the theory that you're gonna be that, I know 100 motherfuckers that wanted to be rappers that are my friends that they just didn't pop. It didn't pop. So my first thing is going after the arts is risky. Period. Wanting to be an actor, wanting to be anything to do with the arts. We have art. Think you're gonna hang in a gallery?
Think again.
Or you gotta really want it, and you're gonna be willing to suffer because it's not the easiest way, and it can go on and off like that. It can go on and on like that. All my friends that got jobs always had a job. They might get fired. They move to another job. This shit. Once people say we're done with Ice-T, they're done with me.
Right. Throughout the whole industry. These people, they can turn it on and turn it off whenever they want. Whenever they want.
Or you could turn it off. You go home and get in a fight with your wife. You go out drunk drive and hit somebody. You end up in jail. All these, you look at all these moguls we got now that are in prison. So, I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm trying to say it's not an easy task. I'm very fortunate and I'm very lucky, but it's not a simple task. And surviving fame is a whole nother game. That's a big level, yeah. I mean, look, my man that just walked in with us works with DMX. DMX, one of the greatest rapper alive. He's no longer with us.
Right.
We name all of these different people that we know. So, if this, even after this big Ice-T saying, don't try it, if you choose to take this path, understand there's going to be a lot of work involved. Let's say if you want to be in the movies, take every movie you can get. Don't think you're going to get paid. Get in any little movie, any little production. You get hired off of your work, not your resume. People will see you in a movie like, you know, oh, I saw him in a little T-Boo flick. I like that cat. Find that cat. That's how it works. If you want to rap, then start making your demos. Now you got to flood the internet with your music. Hopefully, you might be able to connect to another artist that's got a little more buzz and you kind of leapfrog off of that. Music is way more difficult now. It's easier to get your music out. It's harder to get paid. Just understand that there's an illusion out there that this overnight success that happens. Social media has people believing everybody is rich and everybody's blowing up. It's not like that. So just be ready for the grind and don't look at me as a role model because I was extremely lucky. Like one person asked me, they said, well, Ice, how'd you get into acting? I said, well, I got into acting because when they did New Jack City, there wasn't enough young black actors. Now we can do movies like Black Panther, but at the time, Wesley Snipes had only done one movie. He had done Major League, and they did a Spike Lee joint, right? So, with 2 movies. There weren't any other young black actors, so Ice-T and them have sold millions of records. Maybe that'll translate. Chris Rock is the hottest young comedian on the streets right now, him and Charlie Barnett, right at the time. Maybe that'll translate. So they was banking on our other juice.
To bring it in. And it worked.
Well, somebody told me, oh, so that's easy. You got in the easy way. I'm like, okay, well, go sell a few million records. If you go sell a few million records. They'll call you too. They'll call you too.
Absolutely.
Because they're banking up, but
it's just unfortunate that some young people, like I said before, take on the identity of what they see on stage. It's not the same thing. It's dangerous game. I mean, I remember not a few years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago now, when my cousin got killed, Chinks Drugs, okay? He was a rapper. He was running around with French Montana.
Right, I know Chinks. That's your cousin.
Yes.
Okay.
My first cousin. And when Chinks got killed, it was a shock because he wasn't doing no stupid shit in the street. He was just making music. I remember when I took him, they used to call it the crack house.
Right.
Chris and Irv Gotti used to call it the crack house. Okay, where they went and recorded in their studio.
That was named my studio in LA.
Yes,
too.
Yes. Okay, so I remember taking my cousin to the crack house to start making his music, and it's sad because there's so many jealous and envious people out here wanting to take your life just because, and it's just unfortunate. And like you said before, look how many individuals that are locked up. Look where Puff is sitting at right now, and he might be there for a minute, but it's unfortunate,
The thing of it is that these different genres of music, and when you get into a game, especially what I don't like even calling gangster rap, but hardcore rap. Hardcore rap, where you just say how you feel and you push the line as far as aggression goes. You put yourself in a lane of different types of individuals.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So Chink's nickname was Chink's Drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so therefore you're putting yourself in a lane with different kinds of people, and
guilty by association of the name.
Well, those cats,
the name, yeah.
Those cats. Like if you hang around me in LA, the cats that I hang around are considerably dangerous individuals right now. They might have love for me, but they may not like the other rappers because they like, oh, you trying to challenge Ice. We don't like you. You know what I'm saying? So those other people that are involved. Now, what day did my friends that trying to cannibalize me? What day, what moment when I don't give them what they want, do they turn on me?
Right.
So when you from this environment, it's always you just never know. I got robbed. I got set up by one of my best friends. Was put in a robbery and stuff, and so it was funny. After it happened, I talked to somebody. He said that was somebody you fed. That was somebody who's actually sat down to dinner with you that sets you up.
Absolutely.
So
happens all the time, brother.
Well, because a stranger doesn't know what's in here.
Right.
A stranger is not going to come running up in here. They don't know what's waiting on them. But somebody's been here knows. So I had to take my licks and learn my lessons and stuff about friends.
And I've learned mine.
And you know what? I was upset when my lick went down on me until one of my boys told me straight up, they said, Ice, you ain't got to feel no way because there's no defense for betrayal.
Wow. Okay.
There's no defense for that. Now, if that was an enemy, okay, maybe they caught you lacking, but that was your friend. There's no way to protect yourself against that. So don't feel any kind of way. That was some sucker shit.
I'm gonna keep that one. I'm gonna keep that pearl right there, brother.
There's no defense.
There's no defense for it.
Betrayal.
From 4 stars to 2. There is no defense for it.
Because that's the person you trust that puts a knife in your back. And
all the time.
How you be on point for that? See, you can't. So I was like,
come to your house, eat with you, drink with you, hang out with you, and then stick you in the back.
So, but see, your ego, as a man, you are feeling it like, yo, this dude did low, but then it's not the same. And nobody even looks at you like that. Nobody looks at you like, oh yeah, he got caught lacking. No. They like, no, his man is a piece of shit.
Absolutely. And you learn a lesson from that.
Yeah, I learned a lesson from that.
Don't trust them shitheads no more.
No, my
circle closed.
My circle's tight as a duck's ass, and the duck's ass is waterproof, or the duck would sink.
Baby.
The duck would sink. So I'm just like, and all this happens over a period of time, and when you move differently as you get older, it's not because you're scared, it's because you're aware. And so answering back to the question, just be prepared for a long, rough ride. And when you do get in this art game, you have to have that humility. You have to be able to say, yo, I don't know how long this is gonna last.
Right.
Like, even though I've been on Law and Order, I went on to do 4 shows. Okay. Now we're on a 27th season. Every season I counted on it ending. Every season I'm like, this is it.
This is it. Okay.
So what's my next play?
Right.
I don't sit back and say, man, I'm gonna do this for 30 years so I could fuck off this money and, blah, 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 and end up like, so I'm always thinking. And now as I get older, I just like, I only have, I'm 67 years old. So the question is, how many summers I got left? Now people say, oh, well, you might live to 100. Yeah, but 87, I don't know if I'm feeling gonna walk down the beach with my shirt off. So I'm gonna say, I might have 15 summers. You know, that. So I
I'm
look at it.
65. I know what you're saying,
Right, okay,
bro.
so 65. So by the time
Okay.
we 80, that's 15 summers. So we said 15 summers. So those summers had to be picked out
That's right.
strategically. What
Right.
am I going to do?
Right.
What you want
And
me
who
to
am
do?
I going to do it with?
Yeah, and what you want me to do? Nah, I'm sorry. Because see, the thing of it is what happens is other people are at different levels.
Mm-hmm.
So what they want to do, I might have wanted to do that when I was 35.
Right.
But I don't want to
I
do
don't want
that
to
now.
do that now.
I don't have the time I have to be very strategic with my time and make sure that what I'm doing is profitable and fun.
Right.
Fun. So when anyone asks me you want me to do something, my question is how much time and how much stress will this cost me?
Right. What's it going to cost me to do this? That's right. 100%. And let me ask you a question. You move and you said something. Let me just peel the onion back a little bit. You said something about your time and being able to know that, is this my last show? What do I do next? You're an entrepreneur now. You got your own business going now. And it's Cannabis Shop
Right.
that you have. It's one of the most prestigious ones that have come about in New Jersey. And as I was driving here, I said, well, if somebody gets thirsty, they could call Ice-T, and go to the Cannabis Shop. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it started like this. My business partner, Mickey Benson, who's well known.
That's my brother, man.
Yeah, that's been doing everything in the Bronx, from being part of the main members of Zulu Nation to working with Fat Joe, Big Pun, and everything. It's been my friend since I've been coming out here to New York and held me down for forever. He's my guy. Like, you come to L.A., I'm
Right.
your guy.
Right.
He's my guy.
Well, he's my guy too, though. So you can't have it all, bro.
Right,
Come
right.
on.
But
All right.
Mick was working with the governor, Phil Murphy. He had an event at Mickey's house. Of course, he's trying to get the black vote. So we're there, and I meet Phil Murphy. And I was pretty impressed with Phil Murphy, the fact that it was maybe 40 people there, and he was really sharing a lot of time talking to people, which you don't get from politicians much.
Right.
And so I had a nice, candid conversation with him, and I generally vibed a good vibe off the dude.
Okay.
You can pick up energies. I picked up a cool vibe off of him. So I asked him, I said, well, so what's your stance on cannabis? He said, well, if I make it, I plan on legalizing it.
Right.
So that moment, I felt like I had inside information. This man's not the governor, but I know what some of his plans are.
Right.
Now, I don't smoke weed, but I know that it's a lucrative business. So I was like, that might be something I could get involved with. So I called my friends in L.A., a woman named Cheris and her husband Luke, who I've been knowing for 20 years, that owned a cannabis shop in L.A., a legal cannabis. They started medicinal, then it became recreational in L.A., called The Medicine Woman. And I asked them, I said, well, look, I might have action in getting a license in Jersey because I know something about it and I want to start the ball rolling. I said, if I were to, would you mentor me?
Okay.
Because if you're going to open up a restaurant, you need a partner that has had a restaurant. You
I
just
have
don't,
some experience in this.
yeah,
of
you
course.
just don't go blindly into
Right.
any business.
Right.
So I was like, they were like, well, what's going on? I'm like, well, I'm a resident. I was born in New Jersey. I got the word they might legalize cannabis. Well, so they said to me, well, we won't mentor you. We'll partner with you.
Okay.
If we could get the license, we'll just go 50-50.
Okay.
And every time a bill comes in, we'll all pay 50-50. So me and them got together. Their guy that had helped get the license in New Jersey, in L.A., had just happened to move to New York, a guy named John Batchelor. So he had came out to New York. So their man was on the ground out here with me.
Okay.
So he and Mickey went through the laborious, first we went to Teaneck, and because Mick lives in Teaneck, their mayor said no. Then we went to Jersey City, and they said yes. So then you have to find zoning. Where can you put a cannabis dispensary? So we had to find a zone spot. Then we had to find a building. Then we decided to buy the building
Okay.
to give us leverage to get the license.
Right.
Because they might not want to give you the license if you're leasing the building.
Absolutely.
Because the license connects to the property,
Right.
like a liquor license.
Right.
So if you lose the lease, the license is wasted,
Right.
you know. So anyway, we bought the building, we got the license, and going through the red tape of a legal dispensary took us all of 4.5 years.
Okay.
It's a long time.
You didn't skip the process, though. You went through the process to get the ultimate result you win. Go ahead.
It's much easier to sell weed out your trunk.
Pull up to the guy on the corner, right?
Yeah. And people always talk about federal oversight. And I'm just like, now it's state oversight. I don't even know if you want federal oversight because that's just another person with their hand in there,
right,
reaching and causing stuff. Now you've got all these different codes you got to scan, and they watch it, and anyway, we open.
Right.
Now the hard work starts. You have to keep it open. You have competition. You have payroll. You have vendors. You have rent. You know, even though we bought the building, we bought it with investors, and those investors they taking a rent. To get their money back. So we have an overhead. So the first year of the business is the most difficult. So, you know, we won't go in profit probably for a year because we got like $3-4 million already tied up in it.
You just opened up. You just had a grand opening about a week ago.
Great grand opening, and we're going to start having monthly barbecues. Me, Tretch, and Mickey going to throw a little, we call them smoking barbecues.
Smoking barbecue. What's the address of the location?
It's 660 Tunley Avenue in Jersey City. It's like on a main thoroughfare. And you know,
get a lot of traffic over there.
It's a lot of traffic. I mean, the thing of it is, the term dispensaries, that comes from California because when they first opened these spots, they were medical.
Okay.
So now they keep the term. They call it a dispensary. It's not a liquor store, not a weed store. It's a dispensary.
Are people allowed to go online and order from your shop?
Yeah, we have apps and stuff that you can connect to and stuff, but I don't even know if they've actually set up the delivery part of it. So you got to remember, in this business, the way we set it up, my partners are running the business. Right. You know, so my job is just to get the word out, do the events.
Do folk get to meet you when they come out to your shop?
At the barbecues, we do the meet and greets.
Okay.
We had the block packed the first day. The grand opening was packed. Mm-hmm. And the thing about dispensaries, what I'm getting is once you like one and you get to meet, because the people inside, they call them bud tenders. Okay. You meet the person in there and you get a connection, then that becomes your people.
Okay.
And we giving lots of discounts and all kinds of stuff. I mean, you know, it's just a business.
Right.
To me, it's how you're treated. That's why I go to restaurants. I don't care how good the food is. You treat me like shit, I ain't coming back.
Right. Absolutely.
So how our people handle the people that come in there to where you like, I love going to this spot. It's a nice environment. The energy is good. No one's pressuring me. They got everything I could possibly want. And then they can also turn me on to something.
Right. Look, you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
Absolutely.
When when you walk out your door in the morning, I don't care if you're going to dump the garbage or going to the mailbox, you're supposed to look appropriate.
Right.
Because when people see you, you'll never know when you got to see that person again.
Absolutely.
And that's the way that you've carried yourself through your career. You had none of these scandals of baby oils and all of this other stuff going on, you know? And I mean, in the love that you have for your family and that you share with your wife is important, because without a good foundation, you can't build on nothing. No. You can't build on it. The Bible even states that. A man that builds his house on sand and a man that builds his house on rock. And you have built your career on being smart enough to know how to make the transitions when the time came to make those transitions. And now that you have this entrepreneurship in your life and people get the opportunity, so I hope people come out on those barbecue days, rain, shine, sleet, or snow, come out and shake the hands of those you know.
Well, it's a good look. It's a partnership, but it's Black owned. You know what I'm saying?
And that's important.
Important. I brought Tretch in as a partner. I got white partners, but I'm still 50% owner of this thing.
Right.
And the thing of it is that I need experts. You know, one of the keys to my life is always surrounding myself with experts.
Right.
Like, I don't need just homies around me.
Nope.
I need people that know what the hell they doing when certain situations arise. So I surround myself with experts. And, you know, me personally as Ice-T, I know how fragile this shit is. I know, like, that's the thing. Like, you got to understand, going up is hard.
Right.
Going back is instantaneous. It's instantaneous. All I got to do is walk out of here, the first person I see, smack them in the head, and it's over.
Right. It's a wrap.
Stand up in a restaurant, throw a fucking salt shaker across the room, bust somebody in their face. It's over.
It's over.
In one split second.
Right.
Now, it took me, what?
Because of your emotions.
50 years to climb this mountain?
Mm-hmm.
Just like that.
Right.
So I am cautious and I am moving a special way because it might not be valuable to you. It's not you. If I go out and my friends while out, the press said Ice-T and them did it.
Yep.
I might not even be in the room.
That's right.
So you have to have people around you that understand that. And, you know, they have to protect you from, we call it sucker ducking. You got to sucker duck. Because the other guy that's going to fuck it up, he's not going to lose a damn thing.
He's got nothing to lose. He's going to get in there. He's going to tear it apart. He's going to rip you down. He's going to destroy your name and everything else. He's going to stand there. It's the same guy that we talked about before with the knife in your back. I didn't know. I didn't do it. Yeah, you did it, sucker.
Yeah,
you
look. I'll tell you a funny story. So one night, we and Coco, we out. I don't really roll with security. I never had security because I just never had enemies like that. I mean, there was a time in my life in LA back in the day where I had to carry because we was in there. I was living in that world. Once I left that world, I don't have any enemies. I don't have people after me, so I don't feel the need for security. You know, I'm 6 feet. I can fight. I'm not afraid. But so we going out. So we come out of this club down in the village, and we're getting to the car, and some white kid was on my bumper just talking. She said, "Fuck you. You ain't shit. You the police now. You sold out." He started to get on my nerves. So I get Coco in the car. And so I'm looking at this motherfucker, and he's talking shit. And I say, "Motherfucker, I will come over there and smack your bitch ass unconscious." He said, "I wish you would. I'd sue you." So now at that moment,
Bell number one, yeah.
my feet just felt like they weighed 100 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
I gathered myself. I got in the car, and Coco said, "I told you, they just trying to pay you out your position. They trying to get you to do something. That guy was not a factor. Was you scared of him, Ice? Was he somebody that was a threat? No, you weren't scared of him. There's no reason for you to, he was trying to get you to do something to him." So my wife was like, but she's telling me everything. But the main thing she said, was he a factor? Was somebody that you thought you was gonna have to fight? No, he was just some punk that you knew you could knock out talking shit, and you were like, "How dare you?
You disrespectful little..."
You're disrespectful little motherfucker. But I got my ass in the car. And I said, "This is where you are, Ice. You're in a different place. You can't go back to old Ice or any of that." And so usually if I'm around my friends or somebody, I got somebody like Mickey or somebody say, "Man, back down, and we ain't doing that." Or turning to me and saying, "You ain't doing that." Right. So you got to have the homeboys that can check you too.
Absolutely.
Say, "Nah, nigga, we ain't doing that. You ain't doing that. We leaving out of here." So I've been able to survive, but hey, I still got years ahead of me, and there's a million mistakes that can potentially happen. So you just always have to be on point.
Well, brother, you are definitely on point. And I think that, first of all, I want to thank you because you brought a lot of pearls to the table for others to absorb. It's whether or not they want to take the advice and listen, or they just want to look at a picture. You know, you don't paint the picture, you actually paint the portrait. You got to look at the whole thing. And the whole thing that you've talked about from your childhood all the way up to where you are right now as an entrepreneur, all right, is very important. Those are life lessons, and individuals don't take the opportunity to get life lessons. I get a lot of my life lessons from the Bible, because people have already been there, done that already. So I'm not going to take Jose's word for it down the block or John's word for it up the street. I got a book here that tells me this is the word, so I'm going to follow this word because you ain't doing too good and you damn sure ain't doing too good, And at the end of the day, I think that what you bring to the table is more than people could even imagine. And it's brothers like you that allow individuals to grow and to learn, that you can mentor them, and show them ways of doing things. And I'm truly grateful for the interview.
Well, game respects game, and you want to be around other people. I love talking to you because you want to be around people on the same, wavelength. Because that's how you build. And a lot of times just helping people, like they say when the military, generals got to sit with generals because that's where that general level game is coming in. If you only sit with the enlisted men, you can only teach.
Right.
I need to sometimes be around people that I can learn from. So you need to be around those bosses that have that understanding, because the other guys, they just want you to help them. They don't know, So every once in a while and occasionally I'm around somebody like yourself or somebody else that is really, they understand every fucking thing I'm saying.
Right.
They ever understand it. It's not new. It's like I'm just affirming what they think. And is there a passage from where we come from to, the other level? Is this, that, and the other? Yes, there is. But there's hazards along the way. There's constant hazards. And one of the main hazards is ourselves. And you have to, if you can't control yourself, how can you expect to control things around you?
Absolutely.
You have to be on time. You have to learn, so a lot of times I punish myself when I make a mistake. I'm like, damn, man, I'm holding these people to this level and I'm fucking up.
Right.
So.
But it's something that you also said before, and when I called you a Master G, is you own 50% of your business. People are getting paid because of you. So, I just can't allow someone to say, yo, you interviewed OG? No, you ain't no OG, bro. You a Master G.
Right.
And for that, I'm truly grateful to be around, because if I'm sitting in a room and I'm not learning nothing from the person in the room, I'm in the wrong room.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely. The only way you have to invest your own money, and when you have your own money invested in things, you have skin in the game, and it matters.
Absolutely.
The other people that don't really have their money in the game, they have nothing to lose.
Absolutely.
So, when you start to do that, whether it's in the record business or whether it's in whatever, you open a rap, you're going to want to make sure it works. So I've tried a lot of other businesses with other people where I've invested money in them and it failed.
Okay.
Because I wasn't involved in it. And they may not have had the same work ethic that I have.
They had no interest because it was your money they was playing with, so they didn't care. So if you...
that's another way of looking at it. It wasn't really their money. And of course they never paid me back.
Of course not, because those are the people that, it's like flattering. People flatter you. Hey, man, you look good today. Let me hold something. Come on, man. Let those people got to go. They can't even be a part of your crew anymore. So in wrapping up, what advice would you give someone that wants to step into the world of Ice-T?
I don't know. I don't know what my world is, man. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I mean, the best advice I give people is only take advice from people you admire. Like an admiration is something bigger than just I like his clothes or I like his shoes. If you really admire them, then that's who you take advice from. Like, don't take advice from your man who ain't got no girl about relationships. Like, look at the couple that been together like you've been together with your wife. You might be able to give me some relationship, but then people ask me about relationships and I'm like, I know how to be married to my wife. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know how
about
to be,
yours.
Right.
Mine's is in charge.
Right.
Man.
I know how to be married.
You have to learn the hard way, but mine's is in charge.
Right. So therefore, so don't take your money advice from people that act like they're financial advisors. Look at somebody who's really done it. So it's hard to give just simple advice. I just say you just have to be really ready to work. There's no exception from work. There's no shortcuts. You got to put in the work. You
can't skip the process.
You cannot skip the process. One of my mottos, I say, if it seems like you're going in circles, it's probably because you're cutting corners.
My man.
So you got to just be ready to put in the work, and you just have to pay attention to people that have done it. Don't take advice from someone who hasn't done what they're telling you about. Like, if they got so much advice, but they've never done it, they just running their motherfucking mouth. Just pay attention to people that have done it. If I'm trying to do something and you say, Ice, I've done that.
Right.
You got all my attention.
You can't have a testimony without a test. You can't. Just doesn't work.
Yeah, and in this world right now, there's so many people with so many opinions, so much bullshit out there. You have to take the time to weed through that. So just turn your ears off to a bunch of the negativity and really and also all these so-called experts, most of them are just faking the funk. They're not really experts. They're just con artists. They're telling you about shit that doesn't really... if you get a chance to really sit down with somebody, because you'd have to pick my brain for days to really get the game.
Listen, me and you could do that.
Right.
Those that are watching, you just got to follow you on your social medias and get some advice from you.
And my social media, I do a little thing. I do Ice Cold Facts. I do Daily Game. But also I'm marketing on there.
Okay.
So, people like, well, you trying to sell stuff? I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. This is my business. I'm in the entertainment business. I have to promote my shows. I have to promote my webs. I'm promoting. So I'm using social media, two things. One is to have fun and chop it up with the fans. But the other thing, I'm selling shit.
Right. And that's what you're supposed to be doing. If you got it there just for looks, then you're in the wrong place again, bro.
It's my fucking job description.
You're in the wrong place again.
That's my hustle now.
Exactly.
I'm selling something.
Quick question. New York City mayor, New York City governor, your thoughts? The way the city and the state is going.
I don't know. Governor, Cuomo's talking about he want to be mayor again. I thought he got caught in a scandal. I always say that politics is the wrong place to be if you don't want somebody going up in your ass with a microscope. That's where, because most of politics becomes dirty. It gets dirty. Like they do more slander campaigns on each other than they do on.
It's grimy.
It's grimy. Then what I'm gonna do? You spend all your money saying how bad the other person is. It's like because the negativity shit sticks. I don't know. I met Eric Adams. He seems like a solid dude. You know what I'm saying? I don't know enough about the governor. I live in New Jersey, so I don't really know enough about these cats, but I don't know. Me, myself, politics is different. I know that you have political aspirations. I understand that. I mean, to me...
Oh, yeah, it's going to happen, bro, because we're going to make a change. Because the way that this state of New York and the city of New York is going, it's horrible.
Yeah.
I
think New York... this is what I do think about New York. I think New York has to be the most difficult place to actually be a governor or a mayor because you have extreme poverty and extreme wealth.
Yes.
Most places it's not that separate. If you go to Kentucky, the rich guy is worth $10 million. Right? That's the rich guy in Kentucky.
Right.
In New York, the rich guy's worth $500 million or $1 billion.
Or $1 billion.
Billions
yes.
or multi-billions.
Yes.
And the broke people are homeless.
Yes. That's unfortunate. That's not supposed to be like that.
So where else is it? Maybe L.A., but most places it's not that far apart.
Right.
So now, as a mayor or a governor, trying to keep both ends happy, I must say good luck to you, my brother.
Well, listen, bro. Listen, it's doable. And
I believe it's doable.
And I know it's doable because I've done things like this before of bringing people together. Now, everyone may not agree with it, but it's the best for both sides at the same time. And I think that at the end of the day, what people fail to understand is that we're going to have to live together. You can't put a gate in between congestion pricing zone of 60th Street going south and everybody else is going north, and there's a gate and there's armed guards at this gate. Sooner or later, I mean, what are they talking
what's going to
about?
happen? That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's crazy and it's unfortunate, but we have to stand up and do something because you come into New York. Your wife comes into New York. I go into New Jersey. You know, my wife goes into New Jersey. Our kids, we have to do something because it's out of control.
Oh, for me to get to New York, I crossed the bridge. I pay to cross the bridge. I pay down West Side Highway because I work at Chelsea Piers.
Right.
So I do it every day. I mean, I love New York City. I don't think there's any place in the world. There is no place in the world like New York City. I just see it as a difficult task.
Okay.
I just see it as a difficult. I have a problem paying my cable bill. So, you know, someone that wants to take on the entire city, God bless you.
You ain't got a fire stick, bro.
I mean, you know, just basic tasks. I mean, just trying to keep the government of my household
together. It's a lot, but you see, and you know what? I say this without reservation. I believe that God has just really like been incredible. And he's shown me things, and that's what keeps me going.
That's what's up.
You know, he really keeps me going. The other day, and I gotta say this because it's what you do when people are not looking.
Mm-hmm. That matters.
That matters. And I seen something in my own self. I went to my buddy's store. You get 2 pieces of candy for whatever, 99 cents or whatever it is. And when I picked up the candies and I went to go out the store, I ended up having 3 in my hand. I actually turned around and put 1 back because it's what you do when people are not looking.
Right.
That you feel good about yourself.
Well, it's all about yourself, you know, and it's also what people say about you when you're not in the room that matters, not what they say to your face.
That's right.
So, you know, one of the reasons I'm here is because Mickey speaks so highly of you.
That's my man.
Mickey said, you got to talk to this guy. You know, me, it's Saturday. I'm like, come on, Mick, what Connecticut, really? He's like, Ice, this dude is this business. You got to go see him. I told Mick, I'm out of favors. I told you, I'm out of favors. I done gave out more money than Section 8. These niggas got, I need to get okay, no, Ice, you got to do this. You got to do this. So now I'm so glad I did.
Well, I thank you. Final question, bro.
Uh-huh.
Do you play golf?
No.
Okay.
I learned how to play golf. I learned how to play to get a real stroke for a TV show I was doing,
right,
where they wanted me to actually look like I knew what I was doing.
Okay.
And I went and I learned how to drive. And I found a new muscle in my back that I didn't know that I didn't know I had.
And it's there, buddy.
I was like, yo, this is a whole nother stroke. I had to learn how to let that thing go. But no, I don't play golf.
We're gonna get out there. Me, you, Charles Oakley, Jason Williams, a bunch of us gonna get out there and have a good time.
Okay, man. Okay.
All right? I love you, brother.
All right, thank you.
God bless you and your family. Please give my love to the First Lady.
Okay.
And I'll speak to you soon.
All right, peace to the guy. Yes, sir.
Yes.